Yet another sign that when economic times are tough, things can get ugly. A new report suggests that right-wing extremism may be on the rise in this country. Department of Homeland Security says these groups might be using the recession and the election of the country's first African-American president as tools to recruit new members. They say there's no specific information on planned violence by domestic right-wing terrorists, but real estate foreclosures, unemployment, and tight credit could all lead to a fertile recruiting environment. There's even the possibility of confrontation between these groups and government authority.
Dramatic warning here at home to tell you about the Department of Homeland Security tonight, telling law enforcement agencies that homegrown right-wing extremist groups are growing. They're gaining strength, according to the report, by exploiting fears about President Obama's race, as well as fears about the economy.
The threat comes from what it calls right-wing extremists in this country. The report says people who are opposed to restricting Second Amendment rights to bear arms or who are concerned about illegal immigration and border security could well fall under the Department of Homeland Security definition of an extremist.
This is an effort to criminalize political dissent, standard, ordinary, everyday political dissent.
DHS cites a surge in purchases of guns and ammunition and the recent shooting of 3 Pittsburgh police officers by a man reportedly influenced and fears of gun confiscations.
To recruit members. It also refers to members of the military returning after serving overseas. Veterans who have difficulties fitting into their communities again as being susceptible to recruitment by extremists interested in the combat skills of soldiers to boost the violent capabilities of right-wing groups.
U.S. veterans outraged over a report from the Department of Homeland Security warning about right-wing extremists recruiting U.S. veterans for violent anti-government activity. Get the message that white Christians are a threat to the country. And
lawmakers stuffed $20 billion in pork and earmarks into spending bills that they don't even read. But I'm the extremist. We have to beg the Chinese to keep loaning us money, but I'm the extremist. Let me get this straight. Bush and Obama put us on the hook for $12.8 trillion. But I'm the extremist. The Supreme Court, Justice Ginsburg, and Harold Koh, he's one of the guys who's going to help run the State Department. They both talk about transnationalism. In the New York Times, by definition, a reduced role for the Constitution. But I'm the extremist. I believe in the Constitution. I believe in our founding fathers. I believe in the American people. I think you do too. Does that make us an extremist? Or does that just make us somebody who loves his country, loves the history of our country, and refuses to sit idly by as it's reshaped and redefined? More than 300,000 people stood shoulder to shoulder across the country yesterday to send a clear message to both parties. Our country is off on the wrong track. Look at the polls. People are still saying that, and they were saying it when Bush was in office. And no one in the government, left or right, Republican or Democrat, seems to be listening.
The report cites lone wolves and small terrorist cells as the biggest threats because their low profile makes it hard to catch them before they do something awful.
There's also been talk from some on the right of a revolution. One of their chief concerns is gun rights.
Southern Poverty Law Center also says a number of these fringe groups are growing, both on the right and also other forms of extremists.
The one thing that was really surprising to me, Anderson, in this is the number of veterans who the FBI identifies as joining right-wing militia groups.
Who was the first terrorist organization in the United States? Who? Tommy Brown. You mean Thomas Jefferson? You mean George Washington? Paul Revere? These guys right here, we had to go. Did they try to scare people? They tried to intimidate the British. Did they try to use that to violence? Your founding fathers, my founding fathers, were involved in acts of terrorism against British officials because they systematically had British officials assassinated.
200 years ago, we fought a revolution in the name of certain beliefs, of liberty, of justice for all, of self-rule and self-reliance. There are many in this country who feel we have not yet won that war.
that they're only doing this in case there's a mass biological outbreak. You've just got to remember that it's the government, the criminals that have hijacked our government, their National Security Act of 47, who fully took over when they killed President Kennedy in '63, and now under PDD 51 openly says that the White House is a dictatorship and that Congress has no authority. The chairman of the Homeland Security Department for 6-7 months, it's been going on for 11 months total since one of the people on the committee asked to see the documents. They're not even allowed to see the fully declassified / classified version. But on the cover sheet of PDD 51, Presidential Decision Directive 51, it says that the president is a dictator. People say, well, everything will be all right. Barack Obama will soon be in, or John McCain will. They're just puppets.
Alexander Hamilton, in the Federalist Papers number 28, expressed,
when a government betrays the people by amassing too much power and becoming tyrannical, the people have no choice but to exercise their original right of self-defense, to fight the government.
In the Federalist Papers number 46, James Madison, the father of the Bill of Rights, argues,
the ultimate authority resides in the people, and that if the federal government got too powerful and overstepped its authority, then the people would develop plans of resistance and resort to arms.
You actually have drawn up a resolution because you and others like you say that the federal government is overstepping its bounds. Can you explain?
I can, but first I want to say, Glenn, you are not alone. We've got your back, and thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Yes, we have a resolution that says, thus far, no farther. It's a line in the sand to tell the federal government that they are no longer allowed to transgress the Constitution, and if they do, then they're nullifying the Constitution.
2 weeks ago, I came home, and it was about midnight. My wife and I were talking, and we were talking last night at midnight as well. My hands, look at them. My hands now, for the first time in my life, are shaking. Well, not because of what is going to happen, but what could happen. I have been feeling this for 2 years, over 2 years, and ringing the bell. We're running out of exit ramps here, and civil unrest could happen. It will happen, already is happening around the world. We have people from the CIA, FBI that have war-gamed these scenarios. What happens to the world when the United States has to say, we've got to pull back here, we've got to pull back here?
So wait a minute, they started preparing, the military has started preparing for a revolution. When? In the last 4 months they started preparing?
They've been preparing for a while.